and gentlemen, let me see if I can do this, the 2007 International, okay, it's second time's the charm, all right? Do I get another try?
Go
all right.
for it.
It's the 2017 International Esports Federation 9th Esports World Championship. Nailed it.
You got it.
And we are over halfway done with our matches from the League of Legends group stages. It's been an incredible day so far, and as you can see on stage, we are setting up for our fourth match of the day. It's Macau taking on Costa Rica.
And I think that this is going to be a real cross-international event because, you know, you can't get further apart than Macau and Costa Rica.
Basically the opposite sides of the world.
Exactly, but now they're uniting under IeSF and they're actually going to go against each other. So this is one of the best things about this tournament, how practically we get to gauge these teams and also see in their individual regions how they've incubated their strategies and how they really face up to each other.
Yeah, some very different strategies. We've been seeing a whole lot of new things today. Everything from Ornn in the top lane seems to be very, very strong this patch. Got a little chance to see some Tryndamere in our last game, and so this game, who knows what we're going to see come out?
I mean, anything is possible. I do believe the track record for Ornn right now is 100% pick and ban, so...
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, that's some pretty smart logic. You also got Galio up there, Jarvan up there, Kalista up there. I reckon that we've added a new one to the standard.
Yep, we've got a lot of new things emerging, and so while we have teams that have historically, you know, maybe performed well or have yet to really ascend to their final forms, we get a chance to actually see, okay, who is doing well, who is still struggling, and you know, some teams are coming back from a long hiatus. We had Thailand play earlier, and they haven't played here in a while. And now coming into our fourth match, Costa Rica versus Macau. Both of these teams are staples here for League of Legends at the at IeSF here at our Esports World Championship. So we've been watching these teams for a while. Let's see how strong they are this year.
And we will have to start it off with the picks and bans that we're currently into. Now, Macau has opted to go onto the blue side, so it does seem to be one of the strongest sides that is emerging on the current patch, simply because of the way that you can ban everything away. The enemy side has to respect ban you with the Kalista, otherwise you could just pick it for free in the very first rotation.
Right.
And they're really taking this to their advantage.
There's Tristana banned out as well. A lot of these ban phases, Preacher, really do seem to be pretty unchanged from the way that we got a chance to watch Worlds be played. You always see, you know, Jarvan, Kalista, both either picked or banned no matter what. And while, yes, they're still very strong, I want to see some adaptations to the new current patch. Things like Ornn that are actually just so strong.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We saw the Ornn banned away last game. I mean, if it wasn't, then I would highly suspect it would have been picked by either of the two teams. It just looks so strong at the current moment. I don't even think that you need to talk about his passive. Buying items while you're still in laning phase, yeah, that might be strong, but buying the upgraded items, you're thinking about 6-item late game, and by that point, a game should honestly already be decided. So even before then, it's really his ultimate in the middle of team fights that increases CC and does CC itself that just makes him so strong.
Oh, he's just got so many cool parts to him, and we should actually see him highly contested even in this game. Find out what the metas are like for Macau and Costa Rica. Like you said, Preacher, very different sides of the world and very different teams with different players and strengths, and we'll see those highlighted here. So what is the first pick? Wow, looks like Xayah right off the bat. They're thinking about it. It should actually be locked in. That is a great first pick.
It is a good first pick. The only downside of picking it in this context is the fact that Rakan is already banned away. Generally, you pick a Xayah to break up the combo, to make sure that you force your opponents to pick a Rakan, and so that the duo of Xayah Rakan isn't really seen on the same side in bottom lane. But the fact that it's away, you might have been able to prioritize something else. I mean, they're obviously looking at Xayah as sort of an answer to say Tristana is banned away. Obviously, Kalista is banned away as well. This is our next strongest ADC, but Varus and Kog'Maw are still open.
Wait to see what is on the other side. You don't have to pick an immediate AD carry, but Costa Rica will. They'll lock in the Varus and see what comes along with it. As far as supports, we still see a lot of like Ardent Sensor supports, things like Lulu, things like Janna. I guess Janna was actually banned away, but it was more of a target ban in our last game. See what gets comboed in here. In our first game of the day, we saw Thresh taken away. And I am always a big fan of Thresh, but looks like it'll be the Rek'Sai. We saw that banned last game as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Rek'Sai is extremely strong. It's one of the good, solid answers towards an Ezreal because it does the same thing, just a little bit differently. I mean, you got your CC in the form of your knockup, but other than that, he's a very strong, I should say she is a very strong and solid jungler as well. You can transition into tank after you get your initial warrior upgrade, so it's just strong all around. But over on the other side, NH, he wants to make a name for himself.
Oh, he's gonna do it. There's the lock-in on Nidalee again. He watched that last game and saw what Nidalee can do.
A huge amount of inspiration coming out from that game. Now he wants his potential hand at influencing the early game with this Nidalee. We've already seen the amazing potential this Nidalee has, provided she's not trying to 1v1 wolves. She can do a whole lot of interference on the entire map.
Make sure low blow reacher.
Just trying to get it in where I possibly can, but it's a very strong combo either way. And surprise to me, but not surprise to the meta today, Lulu is picked up as well.
There we go. We do continue to see Lulu. Now, when we were watching Worlds, there was a kind of a counter to Lulu. Things like Leona. Here we have Braum. Anything that can go in and punish her for building kind of really squishy items. So maybe P-Gon will be gone after we see this game unfold. But as we come into the second ban phase, this is where things start to get pretty interesting.
Yeah, because now you get to target off everything that wasn't potentially picked. Fortunate for both of these two teams, so they went for the extremely standard first rotation pick of your ADC, your support, and also your jungler. Now it's just mid lane and top lane pulls that are going to be restricted in this ban phase.
Yeah, and there you have it. 2 top laners banned out away immediately. We still don't know what the landscape really looks like. There's a lot left open. What mid laners are we going to see? What top laners? Can they like flex? Are there any wacky picks that we'll see this game again? We have seen a lot of strangeness. There's a Cho'Gath, man, really targeting that top lane.
Yeah, they just want to get everything off the board because mid lane is essentially a plethora of choices, both in terms of blind pick and also in terms of counter pick. So it might be a little fruitless to throw your bans around that way. I mean, Syndra is the obvious candidate for picking something blind if you want to go for your mid laner early on. Orianna is also a good counter, but these are all very standard picks. And if these 2 mid laners have anything up their sleeves in terms of what they're really comfortable on, like even something like a Cassidy, then that could potentially come out.
Well, here we go, closing it out with that Azir ban. Now, Azir is another champion I want to see a lot more of because he has gotten a lot of buffs, so he's pretty strong on this patch, but we haven't seen him just yet. And instead, we'll see what could be like the most popular mid laner, Orianna, just always a safe pick. And hey, there's that Ornn.
Yeah, there's just no wrong choice that you can pick Orianna into. You got ball delivery systems in the Braum and also in the Rek'Sai, so you don't need to worry about your Shockwave held in the wrong place for yourselves. But over on the other side, of course it is the Ornn, continuing the trend of the 100% pick and ban of this champion, and he's just had such a huge impact.
Cycling through possible mid laners here, Macau will be forced to reveal their choice, and it's a Malzahar.
Let me tell you something, Rapid. There has only been one champion at the World Championship this year for League of Legends that had a 100% win rate and more than 10 games played, and that is Malzahar. He has got a 100% win rate because he is just too strong. You nether grass somebody, and they literally do not get to play the game for 3 seconds. I mean, how do you counter that outside of a QSS? Yeah, it's just very difficult to deal with, and sure, you can't necessarily flex your mechanics, but here we go.
It's Urgot locked in for Costa Rica. Now, that's a champion I've wanted to see and really wanted to talk about because he does so many cool things. A reworked champion that has finally kind of gotten the love that he needed. It's hard to love Urgot sometimes, but I think we all know he's an adorable, lovable, way down deep inside.
Yeah, he's a very clunky champion to play, but it's a good type of clunky. He got hugely buffed on this patch, actually. His leg cooldown, once you get to level 13 and above, is actually 2.5 seconds. I mean, that is ridiculous. That's just so a normal ability cooldown, right? You're going to be hitting it practically all of the time on every single champ, and it also has an insane interaction with Braum's passive. If Braum tags somebody and you use your W, you shoot him 3 times, they just get stunned.
That is so insane. And we're going to get a chance to see it in action as Costa Rica finalizes their lineup, swapping everything around, everyone where they should be. But, I mean, this is just so cool. We get a chance to watch new teams from new countries from different sides of the world play the same game we all know and love. So let's go ahead and get into our next game. Only one more series after this. We're closing out the day. But what a way to do it. We're going to have Ornn, we're going to have another Nidalee jungle, and we finally get to see the emergence, the resurgence of Urgot. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 9th Esports World Championship here in Busan, South Korea. My name is Rapid, with me is Preacher, and we are out onto the Rift for our 4th game of the night between Macau and Costa Rica.
Costa Rica is actually doing a very smart strategy of grouping up as a 5-man, trying to invade the bottom side, but it's unfortunate for them because these sneaky fans out actually catch them in the action.
And that's why so many teams do just do the safe fan across every opening to their jungle, because you can see exactly what is coming their way. Now, that should make it pretty evident that bush is warded, and Costa Rica will be forced out.
Yeah, and they don't actually get a deep ward into the side of Macau's jungle, which is really odd because that was actually reciprocated on the other end, but there was nothing to reciprocate it to, so it's just a flat-out victory in terms of early game vision for Macau. You're going to know exactly when McGee Gat actually clears his jungle, goes onto the top side, starts his Raptors, starts his red, and over on the side of Costa Rica, they're just playing effectively blind.
They absolutely are. They do not know, but of course it would be very strange to see anything too crazy this early. The biggest thing, of course, is, like you said, information. Which team has more of it, and what will they do? Is Urgot going to come down and help out poor little Nidalee in the jungle? NH will be piloting that champion. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what the similarities and differences are after just having witnessed a very strong Nidalee game.
Oh, definitely. And I also want to see just how smart this could be. But
oh my God, you can't do that. Ornn already almost taken down. Now, granted, there is a Nidalee here. They're coming in with the spears, the heals, but is it enough? That red buff, okay, actually putting a bunch of damage back.
But Rapid, that was all 6 of his legs applying down onto Ornn at level 1. I don't think that you could have had any higher DPS on any single champion. This Urgot, while he may have cheesed it, he's done some good work.
No, but that was, I don't know if we want to call that totally a cheese, but he was looking for it.
You knew it was coming. You knew that they started on your red, so naturally Ornn has to walk through that bush. And he just got down so much damage. Now he just completely owns this entire laning phase.
Well, very well done, Inkcrow, dominating on what is a very new feel to the champion. The theme is still kind of there, but it does very new things. Like you mentioned, the legs, giving him that extra damage, and there was a lot of it. We'll get a chance to see more of that as the game continues. What is this Rek'Sai doing on the bottom half of the map?
Well, this is completely blind. There are no early wards over for Macau, so if there was a gank, then they wouldn't know that it's coming. However, I think it's a little bit smarter than that. No, he's coming in for it.
Well, P-Gon is P-Gon. Now, the knock up the exhaust, forcing out the flash. Sai will survive, but his support not quite so lucky.
And I think that that's the most punishing thing, because even if Xayah doesn't die in this instance, Xayah is a very immobile champion. And without her ultimate, she effectively has no escapes at all. So the fact that you burned her flash very early on, the fact that she didn't take a barrier and a heal in this duo lane, means that you can just gank again, and she's effectively a sitting duck.
Could definitely pay off in the future. Meanwhile, we're getting a chance to see what NH is looking for, and the answer is quite a bit of counter jungling, really punishing this Rek'Sai. Seeing Rek'Sai on the bottom half of the map, he just heads topside.
I mean, it's effectively a trade of the jungle. You knew for certain that Nidalee was starting on your red, so you need to go there, but Nidalee's going top.
Oh, Inkcrow does not dodge the spear. Will flash away, but the damage is coming. Can he stay alive long enough? No, NH comes in for the kill.
And I'm pretty certain that that boiler that Ornn has does the lowest damage imaginable in League of Legends, but it just manages to secure the kill down onto Inkcrow. Inkcrow pushing his advantage a little bit too much, goes ahead, doesn't respect the fact that Nidalee would start on his side, go back, then go back to his side again, and he just dies in the entire instance.
I think the lowest damage is probably, what, like a Trundle Pillar or a Zillion Bomb application?
I mean, technically, Trundle Pillar has 1 true damage just to catch aggro from turrets, yeah. I believe.
Yeah, well, it's close enough. The lowest actual damage. We'll talk about that. But man, Incro, yeah, getting punished. You cannot overextend, playing a little bit too greedy, and gets punished for it. So right now, NH is doing what he's supposed to do. But now bottom lane, P-Gon, one more hit, gets the concussive blows. Stunned out there. Can he make it to turn in time? Damage coming through, but P-Gon, whoa, the last auto attack is not enough. And now Sandrox does need to be careful, but oh man, you gotta watch out for the concussive blow application. Sandrox very low NH. Takes him down, and Proven, I don't know, man. He's gonna make the long, hard trip, escaping to the turret. He dodges and barely gets taken out. A double kill there for NH.
So you knew exactly what Costa Rica's bot lane wanted to do. They just wanted to outplay 2v2 because they were confident that they could do it from the proof that they already did it. However, the fact that they took a little bit too long and the fact that they didn't quite kill P-Gon in the bottom lane means that they just gave enough time for NH to move down and make it an uneven fight where they both just died.
NH now jungling on his side of the map. Surprise. He's had quite the tour de force here. Everywhere he needs to be, whether it's punishing his opposing jungler and his jungle counter jungling, or like we just saw there, right where his team needs him to be, knowing that their opponents were looking for the 2v2. But now, flashing. That shockwave makes sure to get also the blast cone out to stay alive. Nice escape there. NH reacting very well to Costa Rica, recognizing they need to put a little bit more pressure.
Yeah, and it's nice that Costa Rica do make the correct call in the sense that because Rek'Sai is so far behind, you actually need a laner to follow the Rek'Sai. So Fonk came down with him, used the ultimate, burned the flash down from NH, and they managed to get something back for themselves. But the amount that they actually get back looks like very minimal because there weren't any jungle camps being taken by the side of McGigat. You can see the entire CS differential is 43 to 13. I mean, that is ridiculous in the jungle at the current moment, and it's only growing.
I mean, okay, a lot of that CS does come from the Krugs that NH has been all too helpful at clearing out. So the CS was not totally going to be an accurate indicator of the distance between those two. Really happy on the newest patch that it's a little bit easier to kind of just try to follow that. At least it makes it look a little bit more even. But bottom lane, we're going to continue to see more and more trading be done. I love that it's an active lane. They've been working out a little bit better for Macau. And now Costa Rica has to play a little scared. They don't know if NH is just going to show up out of a bush and turn things around again.
Yeah, that's the scariest factor, the fact that it already happened and you always got to be on your guard. But the upside to the fact that NH ganked was the fact that he got both of the kills, which means that the kills didn't actually go down onto their bot lane, and their bot lane could actually still be in a little bit of trouble when it comes to the 2v2 trading. You can already see that the recurve bow has been bought by Sandrox, so he is in the driver's seat effectively for these trades.
He's going to have to be careful in lane if he wants to get the gold enough to complete that Rage Blade. It always feels really bad if I'm playing Varus and I have to go back and buy a blasting one.
Oh, that is the worst feeling in the world. When you get the blasting one and you just think, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with this item? It doesn't give me any stats, but the Rage Blade is good.
It's just so good, yeah.
I think the next best item that you should look for is also the Runaan's Hurricane. Not just because it's a very standard build on Varus, but also because it interacts so well in conjunction with the Braum passive. The fact that Braum can apply to multiple members, and you can proc it on multiple members with the Runaan's Hurricane as well. It should be a second breath of fresh air and a second power spike for this Varus that you don't normally see.
Keeping an eye not only on the Varus, but on the rest of the map, and it feels like after the actual team fighting, or the fights that we've seen break out on the map, went better for Macau. Costa Rica has definitely started to kind of stabilize things. They have a lot of vision control, not only up but down as well, and things have started to return to normal. But does JF know what's coming his way? Oh. Perfect way to get right up close and personal. Incro, look at those legs, dealing so much damage. And Orange not even going to get a chance to bounce that ram back. Taken down for the second kill of the game by Costa Rica.
That was mechanically perfectly executed by Incro, because what a lot of people have found out through playtesting, and extensive playtesting at that, is the fact that Urgot's flip actually overrides every other dash in the entire game, even Gragas body slam. So to use it when Ornn is trying to dash away from the situation, overrode it, threw him onto the other side, and there was no way that he could ever get out from that gank.
I feel like a lot of times Ornn seems to overextend and then rely on that dash to get away. Can't do that with Urgot, man.
No, it just completely cancels it, and you're in for an absolutely bad time. You could already see in his inventory, he's accounted for the fact that Rek'Sai is always going to be nearby in the top lane through the purchase of the Ninja Tabi. It's delayed his Iceborne Gauntlet by a little bit, but he should still be able to get there, especially with his passive being able to buy in lane.
Another successful counter jungle there for NH. Magat. Oh, I thought he was actually using the blast cone to go forward a little bit more aggressively, but oh my god, the turnaround here. He's actually going to use the blast cone defensively. Wow, I didn't expect NH to go back in on that.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous amount of burst coming out, Rapid. He pretty much knew that it was going to happen. He's already got his jungle item completed, which means that his echoes are going to be doing even more damage after the spears land onto him. And yeah, it's just an insane amount of burst that Nidalee can get off if she can finish her item.
Oh, Flash to try to escape. Takes barely able to get out of there. He is pretty lucky in that regard, but it's still a summoner's blown.
Yeah, he manages to make his way up, but now I really want to see Taken get onto the map. Before, he was just farming. He wanted to make sure that he could get to level 6 without any major disruptions. Now that he needs to start making a lot of plays with that Nethergrass. It's an amazing ability. It's accentuated by the fact that if you have an Ornn on your team and he gets brittle, you get even more lockdown. It's just an insane combination if they actually manage to pull it off. The only downside is you need both Ornn and Malzahar on the same portion of the map at the same time, and that could be really tricky to orchestrate.
Eventually, we'll get to that team fighting phase. We're still pretty solidly in the lane phase. We near the mid game, and now coming around the corner here, NH trying to land a spear. Oh, look at that damage. Funk knows that he has backup coming, so it's not going to be the end of the world. It's still, actually bottom lane here. We're going to get a teleport down there. Incro joins the fight. Will JF complete it? Oh, no, he actually decides to stay up top lane.
Yeah, he knew for certain that there wasn't going to be too much action down into the bottom lane. Incro used his ultimate as soon as he popped out of his ultimate, missed it, scored a goal between both of the two players, and he just has to waddle back because there's not a whole lot more you can do after that.
Yeah, when you're teleporting in as an Urgot, like, you either have to get right on top of a champion. Here we go, mid lane. Not too hard to land a spear there, but Minden Wave. Oh, the turnaround! Literally, the second heal. Wow, I did not expect that. That was way closer than expected, but Funk almost getting that kill.
Yeah, that was way too close for comfort. The fact that NH came in and didn't respect the fact that Funk has already built most of the Morellonomicon ready to get it on this current back just meant that he underestimated the amount of damage potential coming out from the all-rounder. Nearly pays for it with this life, but I think he's learned a good lesson for now.
That clutch heal, wow. NH still deathless on a very aggressive Nidalee. It's been a good day for Nidalee, Preacher.
Yeah, a very aggressive early game jungler who can make a whole lot of impact. I would imagine that once you get to this level of play, once you start communicating a lot with the rest of your team, ask, what exactly do you need? What exactly are our win conditions and how can we transition into those? Then Nidalee can start to become a very strong champion. You can influence it in the early game to make sure that there's a whole lot of damage where needed, or you can simply wait until the mid game and get your Athenes and just heal people like crazy.
Or you can wait until the late game and buy an empowered Rabadon Death Cap from Ornn. Lots of possibilities, different spikes there, and it seems like Nidalee has been strong at all of them. Now, bottom lane. Wow. I was waiting for Sandrox to get 3 feather stun, but no, he's going to make it back safely. But he is behind the turret. Lots of pressure being taken or being put on, and lots of damage to that bottom turret. Macau really seems to know how to play in that situation. But I mean, you look at the way that things are stacking up, not just in the kills, even though they're the big numbers, but gold exactly even, turrets exactly even. The only big difference is that dragon, but it's not even being that consequential.
No, it's simply not ticking over in the favor of Macau fast enough. They need to start making more proactive plays on the map, and you can already see them starting to do so. They're getting deep wards down into the bottom portion of the jungle, and Paxton, he's starting to get some sort of traction down into this game. Now, obviously, I'm still waiting out for the Ornn and the Malzahar combo, but here's the 2v2.
Sandrox knowing that he has teammates coming, but he will need to stay very, very safe and careful. Flashes away at the last second, but here comes Magat. Can he actually turn this one around? A last second stun there on to Foven.
He hit it.
In a 2v1. He's not going to go for it.
No, of course not. Lulu had his shield up, and he simply respects that fact. The fact that Varus went way too aggressive, way too early in that entire instance was a bit of a misplay. Ultimately, you want to wait a little bit so that Rek'Sai is around so that she can get the knock-up. If the knock-up's there, if the ult's there, all of a sudden the burst is there, but everything was just a little bit too fast from the Costa Rican bot lane.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. That was a little bit of a nightmare when Sandrox went in and had to flash out almost immediately. So, gotta be careful. But you know, in the end, he didn't die. So he'll be back. And oh wow, now P-God. There's nobody there. The flash, the knock up, the damage coming through. P-God. Wait, what? Okay. What? I was like, is my guy gonna ult? Is he gonna ult? There we go. So he does secure the kill at the end.
Yeah, he was trying to hold it for the very last second possible, trying to give it over to Sandrox. Sandrox couldn't kill it with the shield, so naturally he had to use the ultimate, but not the worst case scenario because you managed to pick up a Lulu because of the staggered back timers of the bottom lane. Speaking of, one of the better things that happened from Sandrox making a potentially bad play is the fact that he got to go back and get his Ginzu's Wraithblade upgrade. So he is power spike.
Here comes Ornn. Oh my goodness, look at that combo. It's insane. He's 2 turrets deep and they're still taking Funk out. What a play by Macau.
You just don't get to play the game. The extended period of time on Nethergrass, how are you ever meant to get out of that? You combine it with the burst assassination from a Nidalee as well, and yeah, it's just more or less of a death for you.
I looked at Takeson's boots and expected to see distortion upgrades. He is flashing all over everyone. Silence taken out again, just not getting to play the game. Magat, the next casualty. Looks like there's more on the way. Preacher Foven taken out by Sai.
And they dive the second turret without even getting the first one rapid. This is
not one, but 2 lanes.
This is insane. This is bonkers. The fact that Macau is playing so well coordinated with the rest of their teammates, the fact that they can dive so deep and get all of these kills and then fall back to what are now a very free objectives because of the map pressure they got from the kills, it's just very well coordinated.
It looked very even for very long, but finally it appears as if the tables have turned. And now it's not over just yet. Guys like Inkro in the top lane will take down the first turret of the game for Costa Rica to even that up, but it's going to take a lot more than that. And Mo now bottom lane side going deep under turret, but won't commit for the kill.
Yeah, the one upside is that, of course, Inkro is still doing relatively well. Of course, he did get ganked very early in the game, but he's still managing to have an impact on the map. The fact that he took the turret first by himself, now he really needs to show his strength in this split pushing situation. The best case scenario for the side of Costa Rica is actually to swap their 2 lanes, so then Inkro can maybe get another turret in the bottom lane as a split pusher. But the fact that they don't do so might be a hindrance to their overall win conditions.
It might be. I mean, they did dive aggressively for that kill and then not take an objective follow-up. But, I mean, kills are kills, gold is gold, and it's all coming in to Macau. They're also about to hit that level 13 Ornn spike, so that is something that we have to keep an eye on, see if he's going to be upgrading any items. It doesn't appear as if there are any opportunities for him to do that, but they might exist in the future.
Yeah, generally the calculations for the Ornn upgrades they are exactly 100% cost effective and you just get stats. So realistically, you want to complete new items before you get the upgrades, and you only get it at 6 items. Only exception is supports, because both Locket upgrade and Redemption upgrade are extremely strong.
They certainly are, but we don't have any of those items just yet. I love the swap, though, of Inkro down to the bottom half of the map. He is able to hold his own completely well against Sai and P-Gon.
Yeah, and it's not even just for the turrets, right? Because you take a look over on the top side, in Costa Rica, they're actually getting the Rift Herald with this swap. So they're bringing 4 members over. They're assumedly going to crush the Eye. And now, if they manage to get some turrets with this, it's a very worthwhile trade. However, their bluff is being called, and it's just a straight push.
It really is. There's nothing that Funk can really do to stop this. He'll try to get in there. Can he actually hold on long enough? Wow, he does save the turret just barely.
It is a stiff breeze away from falling, though, Rapid. And
right.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the calculation with Rift Herald is always you are banking on a turret. The Rift Herald being in your inventory is effectively a free turret some point across the line. So if they lost a turret in order to get the Rift Herald, then it's an overall negative for them. And it's very fortunate that they hold on to their mid turret, if even on a sliver of health, because now they can potentially get a lead for themselves with the Rift Herald.
Yeah, that would be a one way to turn things back around. I mean, they are at, like we said, a 3,000 gold differential, but most of the gold is piled on their jungler NH. So there are lanes, you know, like mid lane, where things are actually pretty even, all things considered.
Yeah, and you could even argue that it's slightly swinging towards Funk simply because of the items that he's got in his inventory. It is, of course, a double pen Malzahar, so he's looking for the squishies much more than he is for the tanks, although who's really a tank at the current moment on the side of Costa Rica? They're all building damage early on. Proven isn't really building that much tankiness, so it really does make sense that the Magic Pen is coming out from the Malzahar. It's just, if you get the ultimate on multiple members, the AoE on the ground, you're spreading through everybody's health bar.
Yeah, you do not want to stand there. That is a no-go zone. So Take-Sen has been remarkably effective this game. He hasn't picked up any kills for himself, but he has been very effective in helping his team. Now he's going to turn around and get that suppression. The burst from Nidalee is too good. NH will pick up another kill. Nice save there by Bigon, the Lulu ult. And now here comes Ornn. Does get a nice knock up there on Varus. Is shredded, so he won't stay alive if he does get CC'd underneath that, but won't have any more follow-up there. So the Ornn ult looks cool, but it doesn't accomplish all that much.
At the end of the day, I mean, you use it after Malzahar used his ultimate. There's not too much combo beyond that point, but you really got to give props to the side of Macau. They were playing the surprise factor. You would never assume that with all of these fresh targets available, he would be ulting the Braum, but he did. And the assassination from the Nidalee, because you get a free spear whenever Malzahar ults somebody, is just way too strong to deal with. And yeah, it might just be a support, but hey, at the end of the day, a kill is a kill, and Macau secure that for themselves. However, now they got to face a Rift Herald.
Here comes Herald, and there he goes. Boom, goes the turret, half HP already, but it will be taken out, and that is its sole effectiveness. Gone, but not forgotten.
It's a decent amount of damage. He did his job. I mean, I would have been happier with the turret, but you can't fault him for that. He got a charge off. There are some Rift Heralds
in the wind, Preacher.
There are some Rift Heralds that are really ineffective. You summon it because it's running out of time, and your enemy kill it before it ever touches a turret. Literally 0 damage.
Yeah, that is the true sadness. But we did get a chance to see it do its job, and so yeah, like I said, it did get it done. Now, we are kind of entering a different phase of the game as these turrets have started to fall. Lanes have kind of swapped around, and they mean a little bit less. Neither top laner does have teleports, so they're essentially on an island down on the bottom half of the map. Everyone else gravitating towards this barren area.
Yeah, and I think that could be the dangerous, most dangerous thing that happens within the next 1.5 minutes while we wait for the teleports to come up on the top lane. Is if there's ever a fight, there's no Urgot, but more importantly than no Urgot, there's no Braum. And we've already seen the massive capabilities of Braum's ultimate in the middle of a 5v5 team fight. If he ain't there, and if he's 1v1ing the Urgot, well, that's Urgot's strength. So if he can keep this 1v1, then Incro is actually winning in terms of the macro rotations all the way until teleport comes up.
Now, I was talking to the Swedish team earlier, and they talked about the interaction between Ornn, who is now very strong, and Braum. They picked both on the same team. But Braum can block the Ornn ult, so...
Can he?
Yeah, I believe that's what they said. I'm 90% sure about that. We'll get a chance to watch that, but yeah, stuff doesn't go through that Unbreakable. So.
And I guess it is a projectile, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so it's one way that maybe Costa Rica could make a big turnaround happen in a fight. They are still behind as far as gold is concerned, and, you know, turrets and dragons as well, but they're not out of it yet. They still do have the items that they need. Banshee's Veil just now completed onto Fonk, and of course that ever-present Rage Blade on Sandrock. So the fundamentals are there, but they do need to put them to work.
Yeah, and you can already see that Sandrock, while he has got the Ginzu's Rageblade Power Spike, he's had that for quite a while. And his second purchase had to be a QSS, simply because of the ultimate that is always available from the Malzahar. But the fact that you get it second, the fact that you don't get any combat stats from it beyond the MR, means that you don't get your second Power Spike. And we were talking earlier about how you can influence it with the Braum passive as well. Well, guess what? Now he has to wait a little bit before he can actually get on the map and do that himself.
Yeah, you will actually have to deal damage at some point. So, waiting to see what the next move will be for Macau. They do seem to be the most proactive team here, and just limiting that awareness, taking care of pretty much every ward in the upper jungle. But there's the turnaround. Here comes
it was blocked.
But yeah, there it is. It gets blocked again. Perfect control there. Froven really showing that counter.
Yeah, no Ornal means that you cannot siege this turret anymore. The sieging potential of Macau without that Ornn ultimate is actually incredibly low. You've got the Nidalee Spears for zoning, but that's more or less it. You don't really have any power elsewhere, except in maybe the rotations they're trying to do into the mid lane.
Oh, but now maybe an overextension here for Nidalee. The knockup coming through, but surprise! This is Zanya.
He gets out? No.
Well, the attempt at trying to save his life, no, sorry. Rek'Sai is pretty good. But now a follow-up that actually might turn things back around, or will it? A stun on Asai will force him to retreat for now, but oh look, there's the big flip on a Texan, and he will get taken out. Is Incro done just yet? I think so.
Yeah, he should be done, but wow, that was just Costa Rica taking advantage of the blind spots that Macau had in that whole fight. First of all, it was started because NH tried to block off Costa Rica, making the rotations, but he was a little bit slower than the red team. And eventually Costa Rica caught him out, even with the Zonyas, managed to kill down the Nidalee. Second part, everybody ignored Incro, and he just killed them all.
What am I watching? Oh no, Sai actually is just going to go down. He does get one kill and stop the Baron. An ambitious move, but still kills traded away.
Yep, he traded a kill and he stopped the Baron. So if you count that as no Baron going over Costa Rica, it was worth. However, he had to give his life for it. It looked like an over-aggressive play coming out from Costa Rica. A lot of their members were actually ridiculously low, but they...
That could have been so much worse.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine a Malzahar putting his spheres down into the middle of that entire pit. If you want to walk out, you got to walk over the percentage damage. That could have been many more people dead than just the Varus.
Yeah, low health to even attempt the Baron in the first place, but especially with Sai there. But look at the kills, man. They're starting to flow in here for Costa Rica. They had a great trade. Was that 3-for-1 in the last fight? And now they just get another kill tacked on top of that. So, I mean, it's starting to, I don't want to say turn around, but you can see the planning, the teamwork for Costa Rica is still there.
Yeah, you can definitely see what they want to execute. Now the real question is, will they be able to? While they are starting to even up the kills, only 2 kills separate the teams. One major separator between both of these two teams is still the turrets. So it's 4 turrets to 1, and Macau have a whole lot of the map pressure that comes with these turrets as well. Incro, he is the driving force on Costa Rica to really even up these turrets, because his split pushing, especially against an Ornn, is actually pretty crazy. He clears these waves, and he does a lot of damage to the turret with his W.
Very, very powerful. Now, his top lane turret will fall, but will it be any more kills falling as well? No, it looks like Funk will survive. That is going to put that Malzahar ult on cooldown for now, and maybe that means no more push potential, but it's still the loss of a second-tier turret.
Yeah, they lose a turret, and more important than that, they didn't even need to call a teleport coming out from JF, so he manages to continue splitting down into the bottom side, and realistically, you don't want to be splitting into an Urgot, but the one thing that's better than splitting into an Urgot is keeping your teleport readily available for another team fight, so he manages to live with that one. And he still has a very good time in this lane. I mean, he can still wave clear just fine, although this turret is getting chipped every single way.
Inevitably, JF will probably lose that turret, but it's just about hanging on for as long as possible. Wow, he is actually going to stop his recall back to base, and Incro will, in return, stop recalling back to base. So they're just going to chill out for a while.
It's a huge game of chicken. It's just, do you go back to base?
No, you go back.
No, you go back.
I go back. No, you go back. Yeah, okay.
And then eventually they never go back, which really does favor JF, because he can buy outside of base, and he's actually ridiculously tanky.
Yeah, he can just stay there forever if he wants to. I guess that is one of the true victories of Orange. You get to kind of hang out. So this is the first time we're getting a chance to see an Orange game like really get towards the late stages. And while we haven't seen too many Orange items be bought, we do have the potential for that Circlet of the Iron Solarius. Braum has completed the Precursor.
Yeah, the locket is just such a good item. The upgraded shield effect is also massive. You want to get that one. You also want to get a redemption down available for your Lulu so that she can upgrade that. And all of a sudden, you have a massive shield that you need to break through. And if you just manage to break through that with a shockwave or something, then all of a sudden the heals come straight back down. And it's a very tough situation to deal with. However, Costa Rica, they don't want to be playing this 5v5 game. That's not their MO. If they go into this 5v5, especially with the Ornn ultimate, most likely they will have a very tough time, especially in narrow corridors in the jungle. What they want to do is they want to keep up the 1-4 in the side lanes, because Incro, he's still doing good work in the split push.
Incro is super solid, and like you mentioned, that Ornn ult is very crucial, so it's going to be up to Froven to try to block it again with that Unbreakable, just to make sure that Costa Rica doesn't take all that damage. The additional duration from the CC is just not something that they can expect to take and still win the fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a very tough situation all around, because Froven, pretty much his deal is just holding on to his Unbreakable until the Ornn ultimate comes out. However, the only one thing that can really threaten that are Nidalee Spears. But you'd imagine that if Sandrox can't dodge those, then there's no real need in order to do it. But this is a very bold call.
Here we go, Macau forcing the fight, or at least trying to, but no, they burn it down so quickly, Preacher. Oh my goodness. Macau get a Baron.
Yeah, and that was completely blind as well. You have the one ward in there, but it's cancelled out because of the control ward, and because they never touch a control ward, you don't know for absolute certain that they're actually in the Baron pit doing Baron. So it's extremely smart and conscientious of Macau to not touch that one fast side orb, and now they're going for this one.
Oh no, the additional CC duration. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Incro taken out. Just look at the rotation here from Macau. They get the Baron instantly all the way across the map, taking out Incro and the last remaining outer turret.
Yeah, this is just globetrotter, you know, coast to coast, moving from Baron all the way to bot. You'd imagine they backed, right? Wrong, because they go straight there. They manage to even this one up. They get the turrets, and now they can start power spiking even more, which is a very crazy concept to consider, because Macau, they've been sitting on power spikes for quite a while.
They certainly have. Well, I mean, it seems like Macau is really, crossing their I's and dotting their T's, but in reverse order. They're certainly, coming to play. They've done everything they really needed to up until this point, taking out all the turrets, gotten the dragons, barons. I mean, what really else is there left but for them to push turrets with the Baron buff?
Yeah, all they need to do is go straight into the base. There is still a teleport available for JF, so he could even split push the 1-4, moving Baron minions into 2 separate waves is an absolutely crazy concept, because the 4 part of Costa Rica can't actually wave clear that well. You got a Varus for the wave clear, but he needs to move up, and he just gets hit with malefic visions time and time again. You can see his health bar ticking down so low. And Bonk cannot clear these waves because magic damage does nearly nothing to the melee Baron minion.
Certainly does not. Finally, one Baron empowered cannon minion gets taken out, only for another to come up and try to take its place. And now here comes Ornn ult. Nothing that Costa Rica can do to stop their inhibitor from falling.
You use it as a zoning tool, but his mouth.
Oh, the polymorph on Rek'Sai right as he flashes in. Perfect timing for Macau, and now they're looking to take down Incro. Can they find the chase there? Oh, the Featherstorm pop goes to the AD carry and support soon to follow. Sai just with the final icing on the cake here. A double kill, and with a double kill on both of these Nexus turrets, the Nexus will fall, and Macau doubling up in kills as well. 14-7. They will take out Costa Rica.
And Team Macau, more like Team Holy Cow, because they took advantage of this game and they did not let it go. The most impressive one was the intelligent vision play around the Baron and just sneaking it completely blind.
Wow, what a performance. It seems like each game gets closer than the last Preacher, and that game was really just neck and neck for the longest time, but in the end, Macau were able to take it out, and it's going to do it for our fourth game of the night.
However, you can see as these players are shaking hands, they're going to take that loss. They're going to simply formulate what they did right, what they did wrong, and take it into the subsequent games of this tournament. I think that's the best thing, because once you've incubated your strategies, that's not the end of your story. You need to test them out, you need to see if they work, and you need to refine and improve them.
Absolutely. Well, our players and our teams will have more opportunities to solidify their strategies and iron everything out as the group stages do continue, but that's going to do it for our fourth game. We're going to head out to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with our final game of the night.